Okay, so yeah, we covered the plotting in with kind of lengthy explanation. Let's move to scripting. Let us move to scripting in MATLAB. طيب, suppose you have so many operations. يعني today's shabab, we have done so many operations. We plot x versus sine versus cosine. We have done so many operations, but all the operations we have done it in the command window. صح? It's an operation by an operation. What if you want to combine all those operations into a single code, such that once you execute that code, everything will run in a single shot. شلون نسوي العملية؟ Basically, we will start a new script. Can you see the script over there? A new script. So yes, I will define a new script at which I will define all my commands there. So for example, some of the commands that I have done or that I have used today is defining x. And notice I'm just dragging and dropping from x from the command history, right? Also define y. Then I plotted that function. What else? What else did I do? Then, for example, I say hold all, right? And then I defined the sine function. Then I increased the density of the points. وين سوينا العملية؟ سويناها when we created okay. يعني سويناها قبل أصلاً هالخطوة. Okay. Then maybe we created a new plot, a new figure. سوينا العملية هني. Okay. Figure 4, and in that operation we created this command. We executed that command, and then we created figure 5, and we executed this command. Now, suppose you want to run all those operations in a single shot. لاحظوا إن the command window is empty. The command history, or sorry, the workspace is empty, and I don't have any plot. So in order to execute all these commands, I have to save this script and run it. So let us say run this script. It will say save this m file. لاحظ extension. It is .m مثل ما الوورد .dox ولا dox format or Excel or exe files. For MATLAB, it is .m. And let me save it to the desktop, and I will call it first file. This is an important message about. In MATLAB, the names should not be stored with empty spaces. You want to add 2 or 3 words, line over there. First, underline 5. Okay? Don't make it as an empty space في الأسماء in MATLAB files. Is that clear? I saved it now.
Yeah, yes, clear.
And it says, because I had to run, it says to run this file, you can either change the MATLAB current folder or add its folder to the MATLAB path. لاحظوا شباب, the path that MATLAB is seeing right now is this folder, where I saved my file on the desktop. So I want to switch the folder in order for MATLAB to execute the file that I have. So I will say change folder. So when I change the folder, you can see that MATLAB executed all those commands. So I'm going to figure 4, so I'm going to figure 5, so I'm going to this figure with all those sine and cosine. Is that clear? So basically, a script is a bunch of commands or functions that you want to execute combined in one location. Clear? What do I mean by a script?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. The second thing is the space should be underlined. What else? Yeah. Notice the following. MATLAB is a case sensitive. بمعنى A equal to 1, 2, 3 is different than A equal to 1, 2, 3. Right? This A will store these values. This A will store these values, but this A is different. ما تقدر تقول A 1 2 3 أو خلينا نقول هذه 4 5 6 and then you say 2 times A. The answer that you are going to get will be 8, 10, 12. It won't take this A and multiply it by 2 in order to make my point clearer. Let me see the following. Let me see in the command window, A or capital A equals 1, 2, 3. Now find in the workspace. Now if I say 2 times A, notice the following. Undefined function or variable A, because what you defined was capital A. It was not a small a. So MATLAB is suggesting, did you mean capital A? Because it cannot see small a. This is the point that I want to make it clear for everyone. MATLAB is a case-sensitive environment for program. Okay?
Okay.
What else? Yeah, but maybe, yeah. Now let me say I want to define a function. I want to define a function. What is the difference between a a script and a function? In the script, guys, MATLAB will go to this file, first file, and it will execute all the commands that it has. Where in the function, in that function, you will add, let me clear the screen, change the color, and let me say, function, you need to put an argument. Let me say x. And inside this function, you will execute some commands, and you will get some output. So the output that you want to have will be available in the workspace. بمعنى, let me say I have this function, and they have another function, and each function is kind of a lengthy. It has lengthy commands and operations. Okay, and they have another function. It doesn't seem clear from programming point of view to put all these lengthy functions in the same script. So rather than putting all these commands, كل الكommands in the same script, we can say in this script, my function, let me call it, this is 1. My function 1, execute x. Then my function, خلينا نسميها my function 2, خلينا نسميها my function 3. So rather than having very long code in the script, you will have simply 3 lines. My function 1, my function 2, with its argument, my function 3. Okay, now let's see how can we define a function. We have seen how to define a script. Let me show you how to define a function. So in order to define a function, let's go to listen U and define a function. MATLAB says this function takes output argument 1, output argument 2. This is the name of the function, and this is the input argument. Okay, let me simplify it. Let me erase all of that. We need the following. Output. And this is my function. Okay, my function. What are the arguments that it takes? Let me say input. Okay, so what does that function do? Let me say this function takes input and it doubles the input of this function equals 2 times the output. Sorry, 2 times the input. That's it. I want to add one certain argument, and I want to get the double of that argument. That's it. This is my function. Let me now save it. Again, I will save it to the desktop. I saved it on the desktop. Now, you know what, Shabab? I want to execute or call this function. I can use it as my function, but notice if I hit tab, it will complete this command for me. مرة ثانية. بكتب my طيب, and I will hit tab. It will tell me all the available function with this name. This is the function that I want, and I want to add the argument as 2. What should be the output? 4. Function 5. The output is 10. So Shabab, think about my function as in the same way you thought about in the same way you thought about cosine. You put certain angle and you put the cosine of the angle. You are putting certain input and you got the twice the input. Is that clear? So this is the function, or this is my function. Can you see the difference between an input and the script? Sorry, a function and the script. And for example, now I can go right away to file 2 or first file, and I can say what can I say? Yeah, plot. For example, plot x versus what? My function. And this, my function takes argument of x. عشان شباب نسهلها شوي. Let me take this, my function, put it over there, hit enter. Each element that I entered, it was double. Okay, so let me go again to this script. Let me clear everything. I'm sorry. Let me clear everything and let me execute this this script. So you can notice the following. You can see this is the first plot. This is another plot. This is the my function plot, which basically takes each argument and it doubles it. Okay. Okay, so that was a script.
Doctor,
نعم.
يعني أقدر أقول إن الفانكشن هو شيء أنا بستعمله في أماكن معينة يعني.
Exactly. Say that, okay, this my function was very complex code, right? But at the end, you want only one output or multiple output. So over here, rather than writing the whole code in this script, rather than writing the whole code which exists over here, there multiple times, you can say my function on X, my function on Y, my function on Z. فما يحتاج تكتب the whole code again and again and again.
أوكي دكتور، وده مثلا شيء في أكثر من أوتبوت، وده أستعمل سكريبت لأن السكريبت يسوي كل شيء في مرة.
Still, for example, output 1. Let me call it output 1 and output 2 in the same function, right? So this is the first output 1, and this is, let's say, output 2. The output 2 is rather than double, it will triple the input. Okay, so now we have 2 inputs, and okay, save. Come over here. Let us, for example, clear the screen CLC. And I'm sorry. My function, let me first of all save it and make sure that it is saved. Let me come here. My function function 3. I did not specify the outputs, right? I can say now, open A, comma B. Okay. What is that? What do I have? A, it was the double of the input. It was stored at A. And B is triple the input. I mean, even if you have multiple outputs, okay, you can define that in a function. And of course, you can use it now back in your script. Is that clear?
يس دكتور، بس الحين السكريبت كانت صار ما منه فايدة.
شلون؟
السكريبت صار كأنه ما منه فايدة يعني.
لا.
أحسن.
No, because the function all kind of you do it, you need it for a specific operation. But this time in the script, you are doing multiple operations and multiple tasks. You are plotting, you are doing some matrix operation, you are doing some calculation and examining some cases. Okay, basically a function is created if you want to have a repeated job. مو كل ساعة تبي تكتب a definition for sign, right? You define the sign one time and you use it 1,000 times. Similarly, my function, I want to define it one time and I will use it 1,000 times. But in the script, I have kind of different operations. واضح عبد الله؟ I think عبد الله.
Okay, واضح دكتور.
Okay. طيب شباب, the last item that I have to show you for this course is the live script, because we are going to use it. And I suggest that you use it. Notice that in the script, all the operations were executed on the command window, right? But suppose if you want to have a nice presentation, بمعنى you want to define something called X. I think it's not that small for you. Okay, X, and this X from 1 to 10. Okay, if you do that, you can have a line, a command, and you can see the output with the same code or next to the code, and you can have multiple ways of presenting that code. Either you have it side by side, or you have it line by line. So, for example, that was the command, and here's the execution. Okay. Now let's say And the next y is sine of x. And run that command again. And here you will have the values. Now let's say, sorry, plot x comma y. And you will see that the plot exists in the same location. I can increase it over there. Let's say, for example, you are solving a homework. You want the first cell to be a text. Simply in the first line, it was originally it was code. I change it into a text, and that text I can define it as for example title, and this title is assignment number 1. And in that assignment, for example, again it is test, but this time it's heading 1. Let me say solving problem 1. And for example, over there, here is problem that I am solving for blah blah blah. Okay, and maybe you want to add a figure as well. Okay, you can insert a graph or insert a picture. You can do that as well over here. Okay, insert, for example, insert an image. Let me go over there. Let's look for an image which is I'm searching on the second screen. Okay, page, save image as. Okay, save it on the desktop, save, and let me insert this image over there. Is it the wrong one? I'm not sure. Okay, so basically, Sharp, you kind of have an interactive way of showing your work, the text that you want to do. And all of that is happening in the same environment, in the same location. So for example, if you are solving or doing your homework or assignment, I expect you to write the name of the assignment, put a title or put a problem number 1, describe the problem that you are solving, or at least capturing the problem itself and pasting it as a picture over here and doing that code over there. Okay, so this is LiveScript. And I suggest that you use the LiveScript every time in this course and even for other courses. Is that clear?
يعني دكتور ما استعمل سكريبت.
Yeah, I would suggest to use the LiveScript. LiveScript is kind of nicer. For example, MATLAB handles. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Sims X. We will use that on several times. Okay. Integrate x dot square. Okay. Let me run this code. Yes, fix it. It was the wrong. Okay. And okay, so for example, you are defining a symbolic function and you want to integrate x squared. Okay, if you do this thing in the script or in the command history, you will get something as you will get the following. Which one do you prefer? X squared over 3 or this representation.
يعني ارتب مرتب
Exactly.
حلو.
Exactly. It's like typing it in Word document with a LaTeX description. Okay. So that's why I suggest to use the live script all the time, because over here you can see the code and the results on the same page. Plus this kind of neat description of the code. طبعا شباب, I did not write the following. If you want to put a comment, you put the percentage, okay, the percentage sign, and say this is a vector and MATLAB. Okay, so basically this is a comment that MATLAB will not execute, okay, but at least it describes something for yourself or for the reader that reads the code. Okay.
اوكي.
شباب انا ما ادري وياي ولا لا انتم حاليا تسمعوني. You found me.
وياك دكتور.
Okay, all right. طيب, I think this is kind of a rough and thorough introduction to MATLAB. Hopefully, from next time, we can jump on the material for this course by introducing the linear systems. Okay, we'll see you, inshallah, next Tuesday. All right, any questions?
دكتور بس قواك الله لو تعيد كيف حطيت هذه
الصورة؟
مو الصورة, أقصد هذا اللي زي المنصة أو شيء.
اللايف سكريبت. Basically, rather than going
اللاب سكريبت.
go to new, and the new you have script, you have live script, function, live function, and that there I found the live script.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions?
الفانكشن نستعمل فانكشن ولا لايف فانكشن الحين نغير بعد؟
No, for function use the function. Don't use the live function. Use the function. It's easier.
دكتور بسألك.
طبعا.
كيف امسح له الكوماند هيستوري؟
Just select يعني press control and just then delete it. Okay. Select that you want and just delete it from using the delete button.
Okay.
Okay. طيب شباب, I'll see you inshallah next week. Sorry, Tuesday. يلا نشوفكم على خير ان شاء الله. مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.